There's usually a moment when people first discover loose-leaf tea. Not necessarily a dramatic moment. Maybe it's walking into a quiet tea shop for the first time, seeing whole leaves instead of paper tea bags, smelling fresh jasmine or roasted oolong, watching someone pour tea carefully from a small teapot. And suddenly tea feels different, more intentional, more alive, more connected to craftsmanship and ritual. For many people, loose-leaf tea becomes less of a beverage and more of an experience. Welcome back to TeaMinded. I'm glad you're here. Today we're talking about loose-leaf tea, what it is, why it matters, how it differs from tea bags, and how beginners can get started without feeling overwhelmed. If you've ever been curious about specialty tea, Japanese tea, gong fu brewing, or tea culture in general, this episode is for you. Let's begin with the most basic question. What exactly is loose-leaf tea? Simply put, loose-leaf tea is tea made from whole or partially whole tea leaves that are brewed freely in water rather than enclosed in a tea bag. That might sound simple, but it changes almost everything about the experience. Most mass-market tea bags contain very small, broken particles called fannings or dust. These brew quickly and consistently, which is useful for convenience and large-scale production. But loose-leaf tea usually contains larger, more intact leaves. And because the leaves remain more complete, they retain more aroma, complexity, essential oils, and flavor nuance. In other words, you taste more of the tea itself. One of the biggest misconceptions beginners have is thinking loose-leaf tea is complicated or overly ceremonial. And yes, tea can become very deep and highly specialized. But it doesn't have to begin there. At its core, loose-leaf tea is actually very simple. Leaves, water, time. That's it. You do not need expensive equipment. You do not need encyclopedic tea knowledge. You do not need to memorize brewing charts. You only need curiosity and a willingness to slow down enough to notice differences. So why do so many people eventually prefer loose-leaf tea? I think there are a few reasons. First, the flavor is often dramatically better. Loose-leaf tea tends to taste cleaner, fresher, and more layered. A green tea might taste vegetal and sweet. An oolong might taste floral or creamy. A black tea might carry notes of honey, malt, or dried fruit. Tea begins to feel less one-dimensional. Second, the aroma becomes part of the experience. Before you even drink the tea, you smell the dry leaves, then the warmed leaves, then the steam rising from the cup. It engages more of the senses. And third, loose-leaf tea naturally encourages ritual. Not rigid ceremony, just attention. Scooping leaves, heating water, waiting while tea steeps, pouring carefully. These small actions create pauses in the day that feel increasingly rare. Now, if you're brand new to loose-leaf tea, the sheer number of tea types can feel intimidating. So here's a very simple beginner overview. All true tea comes from the same plant, Camellia sinensis. The difference between tea types comes mainly from how the leaves are processed. The major categories are green tea, black tea, oolong tea, white tea, pu'er tea. Green tea is typically fresher, lighter, and more vegetal. Black tea is richer, darker, and more robust. Oolong sits somewhere between green and black tea, often with floral or creamy complexity. White tea is delicate and subtle, and pu'er is aged and fermented, often earthy and deep. If you're just beginning, I usually recommend starting with a good sencha, a smooth black tea, or a lightly oxidized oolong. These tend to be approachable and rewarding early on. Another important piece of loose leaf tea is water temperature. This surprises many beginners. Not all tea should be brewed with boiling water. In fact, boiling water can make some teas bitter. As a very general guide, green tea, around 160 to 175 degrees Fahrenheit, black tea, around 200 to 212 degrees, oolong, usually somewhere in between. You do not need to obsess over precision immediately. Even simply letting boiling water cool for a minute or two before pouring green tea can make a huge difference. You also don't need elaborate equipment to begin. A few simple tools are enough: a kettle, a mug or teapot, and an infuser. That's really it. Many people assume specialty tea requires a complicated setup, but some of the best tea experiences are incredibly simple. Over time, you may explore gaiwans, clay teapots, tea trays, or gongfu brewing. But don't let equipment become a barrier to entry. The goal is not perfection. The goal is presence. I think one of the reasons loose leaf tea resonates with people today is because it gently pushes against convenience culture. So much of modern life is designed for speed and efficiency. Instant delivery, instant entertainment, instant communication. Loose leaf tea asks for a few extra minutes, and strangely, those minutes often become the best part of the day. The process itself becomes calming, not because tea magically solves stress, but because attention changes experience. One thing I'd encourage beginners to do is approach tea slowly. You do not need to buy 10 teas immediately. You do not need expert-level knowledge. Find one tea you genuinely enjoy. Learn how it changes with temperature, with steep time, with mood, with season. Tea becomes richer through familiarity. And perhaps most importantly, don't approach tea as a test. There's no perfect palate required, no correct tasting notes, no need to impress anyone. Tea should invite curiosity, not anxiety. Some people taste orchids and stone fruit and toasted chestnuts. Others simply think, this feels calming. Both are valid. As TeaMinded continues, we'll explore many of these tea types more deeply. Japanese teas, matcha, gongfu brewing, tea rituals, tea culture, tea wear, and conversations with tea makers and tea enthusiasts from around the world. But if today's episode inspires you to do one simple thing, I hope it's this. Take a little more time with your tea. Even one intentional cup can change the rhythm of a day. Thank you for listening to TeaMinded. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone interested in tea, slow living, or intentional daily rituals. And until next time, put the kettle on, slow down a little, and stay tea-minded.